Souls are now at rest, as shadows grow above, but as feathered wings a rustle, do they beat with pain or love? And we're back. As this enormous black shape descends from the sky, what are you all doing?
Apricus probably, in coming to these ruins, brought along sort of wreaths of giant's tears with him. So when they came to sort of thank him, he probably would have set a couple of them to float in the waters.
Nice.
Yeah. Just Kasana's being, she was very, she nodded and was very, respectful to the giant spirits as they departed. But when this figure started descending from the sky, she did draw her Geist arm again. And it's just standing there with the Geist arm out.
Cool. It looks like it's landing on the platform that the first nail was on.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you all, in comparison to that, where do you all post up?
Can we put the manacles on the good doctor?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So at the side, keep an eye on him.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll pass those over.
Yeah, I'll
Medical.
probably be at the stairs to the altar afterwards. And would there be enough time to refocus between here and there?
No. This is pretty much immediately happening. Like a couple minutes more than 10.
That side of the stars and everything, all the conversations we've had about these things that people keep seeing and hearing. Oren's gonna have the rage having faded with the appearance of the spirits and stuff like that, is probably gonna approach.
Cool.
So.
And yeah, as you approach and as this thing gets closer to the ground, you realize it is the shape of an enormous...
Little enormous sneeze.
An enormous black raven, but not like a physical thing, like the silhouette of a raven. A bit of endless, deep, inky darkness, but with burning blue stars for eyes. And it lands on the platform and opens its wings, and the inside of them are the cosmos. Enormous fields of stars stretching for eternity in its expanse. And stepping out of it are three winged figures. The raven shape kind of dissipates, fading into mist, and you see these three figures. One, a towering magpie-winged humanoid figure, over 12 feet tall, with a white face mask and a gown woven from gleaming silver-white thread, bearing an ashwood staff topped with a crescent moon. This woman is flanked and attended by 2 humanoid skeletons with crow skulls, one with white bones and black wings, and one with black bones and white wings, each of which is carrying large, wicked-looking scythes.
I think Oren is like awestruck in the literal original sense of the term awe. Like, this is a lot. And I also felt like seeing that symbol, because they haven't seen the Bright Lady or any of these other figures that the others have.
Mm-hmm.
So they're possibly rapidly putting dots together, and it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yes, the central figure, the Bright Lady, says, "Be not afraid. We come in the spirit of peace and cooperation." Thank you, heroes, for your actions here. These spirits have suffered for eons, or for centuries, and now they may infuse and suffuse the land, as is the ways of their people.
Boy. Well, it was the right thing to do. To trap spirits in the is terrible, evil crime. She looks just like Orin and Elsbetia, and just is like, just kind of.
The Pregus won't speak up just yet, but is there anything that I could recognize about these figures from any of my studies?
Sure, roll religion.
Okay, coming up.
Yes, you recognize both of the crow-headed figures as Vanths, which you had identified before. This central figure is more obscure and certainly feels more powerful. You get the vague memory of hearing about like the really like one of the highest tiers, the highest echelons of psychopomp like hierarchies are those that seek out and thwart the machinations of those who would cheat death. Think of the name Morrigan.
Before he turns to address them, yeah, he'll turn to the rest of the group and just sort of ask, sort of askance, does the name Morrigan mean anything to any of you?
Does it?
Ooh.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's a rank. It's the in the in the ranks of these like angels of life and death, it is the closest thing you get to like a paladin or an archangel.
Well, this is... The Morrigan is a sort of the direct servant of a deity, or of these probably the moon. In charge of the other psychobombs.
As you're like whispering and muttering amongst each other, one of the Vants kind of leans on its scythe and clicks its beak and says, "You know, there's a lot of things that we can tell you if you ask us directly."
Well, forgive me for my skepticism, but we have had the foundations of our society somewhat torn from the hooks underneath. So it's difficult to know what to trust, be it natural or supernatural.
So that was the one with the white skull. The one with the black skull speaks up as well and says, "True, it's a disorienting feeling, but is it not cleansing to tear away the veil of lies?"
As one of those who seeks absolute truth in the universe and its mysteries, it is both a feeling of estrangement and a feeling of unbidden fascination, one which we've often been warned against. But yes, I think having true elucidation of the mysteries behind whatever may be in this space is more than valuable in the moment.
And the central figure says, "There is much that has been hidden from your people. Much that must be brought to light."
Well, that much is clear.
"I am Quester Apogee, Morrigan for the Lady Moon. These are my attendants, Brother Wax and Brother Wayne." The crow-faced, crow-skulled skeletons both nod. "Are there answers you seek before we proceed?"
What are you here to do? In this moment, not general.
"We are here to help you help each other."
Who installed these nails here in the first place?
The Dynasty Arrow, shortly after taking their place as the new rulers of this nation.
To what end, though? What benefit does it do them to prevent the giant spirits from infusing the land?
If the giants who once lived here worked and worshipped closely the agents of the Lady Moon, they would have seen these new masters for what they are.
Did the arrows darken the sky?
No, that was a curse laid by the Gilded One.
She unclenches her fist a little.
Forgive me a question of personal curiosity, but Do any of you happen to know the significance of the Lady Moon in connection with our broad-shouldered companion over there? And he'll point to Orin.
Of course. It is difficult for gods to interfere where they have not been invited. Our only jurisdiction is the transit between life and death. But for a life cut short, for an extraordinary death, there can, at times, be exceptions made. A reaper brought into the world.
I think Orange just gonna digest that for a moment.
And one more of even more personal curiosity. Unless anyone else has any other questions and wishes to let matters proceed. If you are servants of the moon, do you perhaps hold secrets of that other celestial body hidden behind clouds, that of the sun?
That legendary mystical thing. Spoken of only in legend.
Well,
And a few neighborhoods over.
Praise him.
Praise him.
We hold the Lord's Son at a distance, as is proper.
It's just, oh,
Too
he's
hot
over
to
there. Yeah.
If you wish to bring back the light of this land, you must first do away with that which keeps it dark.
We will not turn away your aid. Speak and tell us what you will.
Very well. You must save yourselves and the people of this land. You must cast down the vampires who hide their face and feed on their subjects.
She retightens her grip.
Elzbieta's just kind of like standing further back from everyone else, and so like only the lady and the brothers would probably see just like that expression over her face of just like,
Elzbieta, make a diplomacy check.
24.
Nice.
You'd see Brother Wax, who is the white bones and black wings. You definitely his eye sockets are empty, but you do make eye contact with him. And he very discreetly points at you and gives you an okay sign.
That's the one you were saying last time, clearly.
And says, "You're cool. You're all right."
I got you, boo. I got you.
Meanwhile, Kasana's just like, I'd heard there were rumors, but just very angry about vampires next to Elspeth.
So, we are to understand from
We
this
are
that-
standing right next to each other, it's true.
That's great. Yeah, we are to understand from this then that the Gilded One was not the only one that we worry about, or is it that more came in his wake?
A vampire 200 years ago was slain. And his killer, already afflicted with the curse and presented with a land of endless night, went about constructing a society that depended on his dynasty and learned not to question their saviors.
Of course.
We already knew that Errol was fabricating children of vampires. I suppose this is to understand where he got that ability from.
Yes. They work now, trading in fear and propaganda to solidify and keep strong their rule, making half measures, cold lamps, opaque, protective militias, instead of actually working to solve the problems that face the people of this land.
Yes. Yes, of course, that is what we... That is why we... Of course, that is what we are always demanding and that they let the people like him, and she points at Mortimer,
Look at that guy.
work in their institutes, raising undead even. It's...
Yeah, I'm keeping quiet because this seems like a pretty serious thing for you, but yeah, I'm still here.
Dr. Paxton, my friend.
He goes, hey, what's up?
Now might be a time to consider joining the Unshrouded Sun.
Interesting thought. I'll keep thinking about it while you keep talking to the terrifying bird woman.
We're increasingly finding ourselves on the right side of history, my friend. The offer stands
Disrespectful
open.
way to talk about my wife.
Shakes your hand, Jade. Shakes your hand.
I'm sorry, a scary bird woman.
Scary bird woman.
You don't expect me to want to romance her?
A spider bird woman, even. Morgan's actually also have. She left the web.
Of course, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where her dress is made of spider silk. Of holy
Rank it
spider
up the attractiveness. Great.
Yeah, the...
Yes.
I think after getting all the information, I was like, is that what I'm here for?
You, Lauren, Erin, and actually, as you all look, both of them are standing here because this is a place of spirits.
Mm-hmm.
You see the body of Orin and the spirit of Erin side by side.
Well, that's fun for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Oren, I suppose you would sort of see the spirit overlay, because in life, Oren was about, I think, just maybe a little over 6'2", 6'3", fairly sort of whippet thin kind of build, shaggy dark hair, easygoing features, sort of like perpetual 5 o'clock shadow kind of vibes. And Aaron is maybe 5'2", 5'3", white blonde hair, cut short, just curling up, and he has much sort of stockier, just very clearly solid, the much more sort of serious expression, very sort of strong features.
Yeah, and like the shape of Orin is almost like a blanket or shroud that is like encompassing both of these entities. And we'll handle that perception check in a moment. But Apogee says, "You are here because the world didn't want to lose you. And it's true that there is much that you will be able to accomplish in this quest to protect and free this land. But above all, you are here because your stories are not over."
Thank you. But you sort of hear the voice in almost like stereo, like in one ear you hear one accent, and in the other ear you hear the other.
And they're both using their own vocal cords now, rather than Orin's shared big body. So, Kasana, do you think that you would get a circumstance bonus for familiarity to hit that 20?
I will leave that up to you two. What you're describing sounds like a bonus, but
Yeah.
I would be inclined to say there is the circumstance +1 there. I think hearing that voice on top of the visual, because it's one thing to suppose hear that voice when Oren looks like fucking 6'8", grey skinned. It's another thing to hear that accent when looking at that visual of this like fucking 18-year-old with white blonde hair.
yeah, I guess then she notices and her eyes widen as she turns to look past Apricus. And her mouth opens and hangs there, and tears start streaming down her face.
Elzbieta will kind of like grab at your elbow and just be like, "Are you okay?"
She doesn't respond. And I think walks up speaking in Gornyazik. No, you're... Mikhail was supposed to remove you from all this. No. You weren't... You were supposed to be away from all
He did.
the fighting,
He did. But, you know, I could not let things stand. I had to fight. It was the right thing to do. That much I learned from you before you left.
my arena. No. And she tries to hug her.
It's not a body, but it's a nothing. Not here. Here you can still feel something. And Brother Wax looks like he's about to talk, but Apogee puts a hand on his shoulder and he stills.
This isn't your fault.
Oh, my daughter. No, you.
Mama, please. I am here, in a manner of speaking. There is work to be done. We all have our part to play, yeah?
Yes, of course, what of your brother? What about Dmitri? I wouldn't even recognize him. He wasn't even a child when Mikhail took you.
I'm sure he is fine. He did not live when I did. I cannot say for sure, though. I don't know.
I never expected to see any of you again. I suppose this is something, and you are here. In some way.
In a very substantial way, one could argue.
Yeah, and she starts sobbing, like she had tears going down her face, but now she's kind of sobbing, hugging the
specter of your daughter.
Yeah.
I think she goes to hug back, and you feel the weight of the larger arms of Orin come around you as well. And you hear in your other ear the accent you're more familiar with from Orin going, I'm sorry I couldn't save her. I did try.
As this is all happening, you hear a little rustle to your left as Mortimer Paxton has fished out a bag of shelled peanuts from one of his pockets.
Not trying to escape, just pulling out snacks.
Yeah. It's time for my protein. This is riveting.
Very strict dietary schedule.
Yeah.
Small snacks between meals is fine.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I'm not encourage this.
And he kind of breaks the tension a little bit, and Questor Apogee says, I'm sorry for the pain of this revelation, but the night is not as long as it seems, and there is much yet to know.
Of course, yes. As Betty and Apricus, you can, please,
I'll give you a handkerchief.
Thank you. She steps back bit behind everyone.
Cool.
Well, since we are at the fore of this now, Elizabeth, do you have any questions that come to mind about our circumstances that we should ask?
Well, not really. At the top of my head. It's, I guess one of the biggest questions would end up being, no, I don't know. Everyone's so comfortable under this role that we have fallen into because it isn't outright manipulation the same way that the Gilded One was. So
Brother Wax speaks out and says, yes, an iron fist in a silk glove certainly doesn't feel as harsh. And Wayne says, and yet it squeezes all the same.
It is the touch that is softer, not necessarily the pressure. And in the end, we have tricked ourselves into ignoring that pressure that it applies.
It's worse. Because people don't notice it.
People don't want it to change in a grand scheme of things.
They have been made to feel safe. It's the wolf at your door that keeps you safe from the more dangerous things further afield. And anyone that speaks out is taken away. Any kind of threat to their authority, they get rid of. Look at the Rams. Question things. Too many questions, people start looking. I think people would want to know.
Oh, they'll know.
Yeah, and Custer up and she says, they need to know. And where Wax says, for that matter, and Wayne finishes, they need to think they can do something about it.
It'll be a lot easier when they have proof.
Indeed. For people do not make a revolution. And that is what is needed. The people of Tarandaur must know the truth. And they must have the hope that they can fix things. That it is not beyond change. And Wax says, you should start here. A small spark fans a big flame.
Everyone looks at Abricus.
Wax says, that guy knows what we're talking about.
Well, if someone needs to light the way, I suppose, even if it is the last thing I had in mind, is quickly becoming the first, so.
We free the children, the ones that the Earl has and has experimented on, like Soren.
And it's my concern is that there are people who would look at them and see only the other and only the problem that needs to be fixed and not letting them be. Soren was allowed to let be because they made a space for themselves where they could. But do you think in a general whole, people would allow them to exist and allow them to just make their own choices if everyone else knew what happened to them?
I look at Kasana. Parents want to see their children, regardless of how changed they might be.
There are children in there who might not have parents.
Then we speak for them.
I would hope so.
Anyone who would seek to harm them, we
I
will
have-
defend them.
I have connections in Coronant if we need people. There are
Would those-
many guilds that don't bow to the authority of their roles.
Well,
But my question is, would they be left to make their own choices? Or would it be seen that they need to be fixed and cured, as you said to me?
I cannot offer you such an answer. If you wish to have them left to their own devices, you should have the conviction to see that through.
I will build a school if I have to keep these
Then do
children
so.
safe. I have to make sure that they will not come after people like me and like them. Okay?
Okay.
the structure isn't in place now, of course. I can't say with confidence that they would be accepted so easily in places like Dawnbreak or Coronat. Of course. But if it is support that you require, then I can offer my own hand in assistance, and I'm sure that we can seek for it from the Rams. After all, they do seem to have some understanding of those on the outside having been estranged from society themselves, and we've seen Soren, what they are. I'm sure that they would have some sympathy to those caught in the same plight.
Yes, between Soren and their no shepherd but the flock, I would think them an ideal people to raise these perfectly fine children.
I would like to say that my order concerns itself with nothing but the pursuit of knowledge, but, well, given the changing tides of the situation, once they come to understand that what's happening is driven from the top, well, I'm not sure exactly what
I have a musket, Mort, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Dr. Paxton, you are, of course, known in the ways of the university, and perhaps a little more with the in-crowd than I am these days. What say you?
Well, I mean, it's... I certainly wouldn't mind getting a look at some strange and atypical...
I will shoot you,
yeah,
you
I
weird
lit
little
up-
man.
I actually do just smack him with the butt end of my scythe.
Ah! Goes unconscious. Peanut spill everywhere.
Oh,
Brother Wax interrupts and he says, all very noble and worthy discussions to have. And Wayne finishes, but you're putting the cart before the horse. You can't plumb the depths of Eldrick Manor yourselves. Not without help. And it'll take more than your friends in the woods to lend it.
We almost got our asses handed to us by the Vanatory Lodge. We are not prepared to take on the Errol's.
And Questry Abaji speaks up again. She says, the people of Rule must know the truth. They must be mobilized. And if you do that, you may be able to save those trapped in the Maestro's manor. Hold out your hands.
Finally.
Yeah, you hold out
Wanted
your
to
hands.
mobilize these people since I got here.
We've been trying to enact communism since day one.
The People's Revolution!
That's what you got to do. You can't do it yourselves. Yeah, you hold out your arms, and around each of your dominant wrists, she touches her staff, and flowing from it comes a woven spider silk bracelet.
Friendship bracelets.
These
Do we need this?
Child, I am about to speak. These marks
That's religious.
will represent your success. When the people of Rule have learned the truth and believe it to be true, they will become relics to aid you in your quest.
We gotta level up these magic items, guys.
And Brother Wax says, yeah, you're going to need stuff like that if you're going to siege a fortified manor. And Wayne says, the people must rise.
I will do so. And I will not refuse whatever boon this gives, but stocks off.
Is there something here, at least, that we can use to show the tragedy of the giants?
Perhaps we are not versed in the ways of people like you are. We see things from a distance. We need people like you to give us perspective. And she looks up, and you realize this whole time the moon has been visible for starting as like a waxing gibbous, but it has slowly been, the crescent has slowly been growing, and it's almost hit the new moon. And she says, our time is short. If you have any last questions or requests, be quick about them. We will not be able to do this again.
How do I get my scythe as powerful as yours? And I point to one of the ones that the brothers have.
Brother Wax says, wrap that silk around its blade, and maybe once you succeed. And Wayne finishes, something good will happen.
Thank you.
Does anybody see anything else before the psychopomps leave?
Where next shall we go from here? Where are the people most willing to listen?
This is your world, not ours.
Well, then I suppose I know who to ask next.
She inclines her head.
I'm gonna bow again and just both voices in stereo. You thank them for the part that they played in Oren being here. So
I have one final question.
Mhm.
Is there any way to free, such as Soren, from the curse that was placed on them about speaking?
Let me think. This is not her thing. She pauses for a moment and she says, a person, a secret that people know is not a secret. And with that, the light above them fades and the darkness grows, and that starry blackness kind of stretches from their shadows as a pair of wings close over them, and they are gone.
Glory be to the light of the moon, for lunacy has brought us ever closer.
Do you hear the words that are coming out of your mouth when you say
I don't
them?
know if I should like snap in the poetic beat or if that is something
No,
else
too much?
altogether.
I was thinking of how it may be recorded later.
Meta.
You
Oh, he's already planning his memoirs.
you kind of instinctively look at Mortimer to comment, and he's just unconscious.
Oh yeah, I'll slap him awake, I guess.
Hi, do you have a plus 6 or whatever to damage? You only had 9 HP left.
Yeah, what does my unarmed strike do? Oh, 2d4 plus 4. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Yeah. So yeah. You shake him awake. Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yes, it was. Well, I wasn't dreaming because I was just unconscious. It wasn't really sleep. My REM didn't really activate.
Oh my god.
But yes, restful. He kind of looks for where his peanut satchel went.
I look to Apricus. Has he always been like this? Insufferable?
Well, I mean, of course, I'm given to that opinion, yes. However, I think those of the university may differ a bit more depending on their circumstance.
You should see me in the operating theater.
I would rather not.
Truly,
Okay.
if you were to call the dismemberment of the people an art, it would be considered one, but given that I do not tend to consider it as such, I see it more as mere brutality or efficiency, depending on what exactly is being achieved.
Everyone's a critic. That's the thing you have to learn, young woman. Every person that you meet is going to be a critic.
How old is this guy?
He's like 36.
We're around about the same age.
Like
Yeah, he's about
8
the
years
same age.
older than me. He's like, just like,
Yeah, it's late 30s.
yeah. Like, okay, whatever. Weirdo.
Well, it does sound like we'll have to have his company for quite a bit longer until we return ourselves to the Rams, in which case we can perhaps pass him off.
Ooh,
Who are the Rams?
can we blindfold him in the process? Just, for the fun of it.
I think that would be a good idea, although I fear that the destination may give itself away.
Shh.
But for the fun of it,
Fun of it.
So the fun of it. This is for the fun of it.
yes.
Not
Very
my
little
first time
guessing
wearing
here.
a blindfold.
A test of your Tarandaurian geography.
Oh, God, I'm pretty sure you always knew that was my worst subject back at university.
Well, a little exposure to the land shouldn't hurt.
I'm gonna step off to find Kasana where she stomped off after having to deal with a present from a god.
You find her on the steps where we were having the dramatic fight with Paxton. And she's like super obviously just She's dry heaving. She's crying very intensely and very quietly. But it's very obvious.
You surreptitiously into your field of vision get handed a water skin and like a little salted cracker. You need to
Doctor
replace
mode
this.
activate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there anything I can do for you, Kasana?
I will. I will need time, but can you hold on to this? And she hands over the spider silk.
Of course.
I cannot accept it. I cannot willingly accept the aid of a deity, but I might accept the aid from you and the others.
I think I take it, and then, because playing on what she just said, I will take your guy's arm and tie the silk around it. A gift from me, then?
Squeezes your hand. And stands up and says, well, right then, we have work to do. Hearts and minds to change.
And you're very convincing.
She nods. And walks back with Orin.
You see Mortimer Braxton is back on his feet, and he is blindfolded and slowly rotating. So I think somebody else was supposed to spin me. I don't think I'm supposed to do it myself, but I'll do it. I'm game.
I have a sword cane and a musket, and I'm just kind of like poking him in the elbow to make him like turn, and just like making him poke in the other direction and just spinning him.
Mm-hmm. Whew, boy, yes, it brings me to mind our old pledge drives, eh, Epricus?
Oh.
With the frosh, yes?
I am going to pick him up and just, like, turn him over my head a couple of times and then set him down in the hope that maybe he'll get dizzy enough to stop talking.
Oh, my, and he just falls straight back onto his back.
While he's on his...
I catch his head before it hits the floor so he doesn't knock himself unconscious.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather bring him back unconscious so we don't have to listen to him prattle. But...
I'd be the one carrying him, though.
Yeah.
Dr. Paxton.
Yes.
You should understand that you are about to be brought into a camp of people who, with your hands restrained, will all be able to handle you and anything you can summon forth. And you should understand that what you have displayed to us here today will be far more frowned upon than it is even now, after we are through. I suggest that you come with us and weigh your options. If we all die, your masters might come and get you. If they don't, I would strongly reconsider your values and ways of operating, because the revolution does not look kindly on necromancers.
Yes, first up against the wall, I imagine.
I would like to coerce him.
Sure, yeah, roll an intimidation check. Fantastic. Let me just take his will save. What? Yeah? I don't know if you can hear her.
A little bit.
No, a little bit is...
Hey,
22. Yeah, fantastic. His grin kind of falters a little bit, and he says, "Ms. the Spear, I am.
He would.
I'm very aware of the situation that I find myself in.
That's good. And if you understand that, you'll think upon it quietly on our way back.
You're an intelligent man.
Yes, which usually means that I want people to know about it, but I suppose that in this case, discretion is the better part of charisma.
Or survival.
And more so, you should use that big intellect of yours to really examine yourself and your values. Come on. She starts.
Big intellect, shallow ego, though? I mean, like... I don't know if that would, really cow him into changing sides, but...
Well, admittedly, when you spend your time examining the universe, self-examination is maybe not as honed as it needs to be.
Yes, I'm much more used to examining.
Glares.
Well, he's blindfolded. He says, I'm much more used to examining others.
I only know the film peripherally, but Morton's giving me such big Herbert West and Reanimator vibes, I gotta say. Definitely a touch of Newt Geisler, which is possibly why I like him so much, and I'm sorry for my taste in fictional characters.
Yeah, he's a hell of a guy, that Morton. But yeah, so Mort Paxton, Dr. Mort Paxton, you blindfoldedly trudge him through the woods, and it takes a couple of days, during which he does curtail his conversation, but it doesn't seem to be within the man to fully silence himself, even if it is within his own best interests. He is just a chatterbox.
Precus will do his best to sort of set off the chat with his own, at least he would call it witty repartee, but it's probably just more,
Listen, when they banter, it's big X vibes. It's big we're X's. I hate to be the one to say it, but I've been thinking it this whole time.
I can't believe I slept with that guy when we were in our sophomore year.
I know, it was it happened once, but you can feel it.
Could I just real quick have Orn make a perception check for the time we were going around?
Absolutely. That's a 21.
Oh yeah, that's a critical success against my stealth DC.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kasana, even when she's not directly interacting with anyone, is very obviously staring at Orin a lot of the time.
Bless. Okay. Files this away. I feel on picking up on that, when they settle for to make camp on the way back, just we'll make sure they're either in direct eye line or next to her.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Also, thank you, Cracked Die, for the raid.
Thank you, Cracked Eye, for the raid. Very appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so between the surreptitious glances from not so surreptitious glances from Kasana to Orin, with the revelation of last of their connection, and the sort of tension, the unique flavor of conversation
The UST.
that Dr. Mort Paxton brings to the situation.
Elzbieta has his peanuts and is eating them, watching this conversation.
You're putting me behind my calories.
I'll forage some mushrooms for him on the way.
Those have different nutritional values.
Cheer up, Doctor. Most nutritional diets are bad for you anyways.
But yes, you, after a couple of days of this, return to the Vanatory Lodge, where Soren, you see now where once was the like symbol of the lodge and like the little flags of the arrows. They have been cut down, and a big red sheet with black text painted crudely on it, "No shepherd but the flock," hangs over the battlements, along with the impaled helmets of the soldiers that held this place.
Did think you were going to say the head of Vanatory. I won't lie.
They're not quite that gruesome.
Also, it would be like a werewolf head. That's a little weird.
They would have turned back.
I have to say, it's a werewolf turns back when you cut the head off.
Yeah. Though you do hear in the interim that Sajak definitely he's like, we need to put the whole body up there. We need the whole body. Otherwise, it's just we put some hats on some racks. That's not scary. But Soren shut that down.
Fucking Paxton and Sajak to each other.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
I want those vibes. I mean, I don't, but I do.
So you march Mortimer Paxton in through the front gate, which closes and locks behind you as Soren kind of appears and greets you and says, "So, what did you all learn?"
Quite a bit. Gather everyone.
Everyone.
All hands.
This is
To be a movement of the people.
This is the most important revelation and blow that can be dealt to not just Aldrich Errol, but all the Errols. And we need everyone on deck.
All right. Jack, would you do the honors? And Sajak puts his fingers in his mouth and blows the sharpest, loudest whistle that you have ever been forced to deal with.
We're all way too close.
I reacted with gas shield.
That's why Oren put their hands to their head as they saw what he was doing.
And he says, "All right, come on, you landlubbers and lily lovers and all you motherfuckers! We got important things to hear about."
Landlubbers, lily livers, and motherfuckers. The three genders.
Shout out to landlubbers, got to be one of my favorite genders. Yeah, and he's not even a pirate. He just sounds like one.
Kasana is definitely motioning to the others and climbing up onto a battlement.
I'm gonna go get Alexei and bring him out too.
Hello. Yeah, he's looking a little bit more vital than he was last you saw him. It's been like a little under a week in the time, like the surrounding. Yeah, you definitely saw I haven't updated the map because that's work.
Yeah.
but there's definitely like been a change in the tenor and the character of this lodge. It's like the big bunk bed has been like torn out and like just filled with bedrolls and more bunks and the kind of like the tents are set up inside the courtyard.
Yeah.
Or like rolled up to like and stuff, just and full of people of all the Rams that you've met. Happy Jim has set up a
Cook station.
A cafeteria, yeah.
But yeah, I'll carry Alexi out and like rest him on my shoulder. She's like, "You're not gonna want to miss this, and you're gonna want to be able to see."
Oh, and you're going to want to be able to see the professor too.
Oh yeah,
Dr. Paxton! What a surprise! Oh, Dr. Vital, yes, I was a villain a little bit. I started to work for the state after I graduated, and then I was thoroughly thrashed and captured by your pupil here. So now I guess I'm a good guy.
Absolutely not. No. That is not what it means.
Bitmap is like,
to be a
no,
prisoner.
No, I'm beating my drum to the company, to the revolutionary beat. I'm true red-blooded Tarandoor. Yes. Tarandaurian, yes. And Alexi's like, that's nice, Dr. Paxton. Perhaps once you wash the viscera from your pockets, you'll be in a bit of a better state to claim such things.
Shots fired.
Yes. Well, I think there's an announcement, so we should stop talking now.
Oh, someone else is getting the one up on the conversation than me. Cut it off.
Also,
Kasana, you climb to the top of the battlements. There's a crowd of people that is not present on this map, that is present in the actual world of the game.
In our hearts.
Also, I'll just, as for things, if there are any checks in here, cool reminder that anyone who's good at diplomacy will be a great aid in doing an aid check. But yeah, so Kasana sees all the people in front of her. Rams. People of Ruel. Tarandaurs.
Paxton goes, wow.
We all know something is wrong with the arrows. That the way they operate doesn't trickle down to the rest of us common folk. That the people in charge have much more than they give for far less protection than they claim. Many of us who aren't here, many of your relatives and other people, still look up to them while hidden and huddling behind their walls, afraid to leave for fear of the undead, which their own guards, protectors, string up to create fear sounds in the woods to fear others. We have gone, seen how they have trapped the souls of the dead who once lived here. And we have spoken to those who know, who have seen the truth of what happened all those centuries ago. The arrows, since the first, have been vampires themselves. Aldrich Errol experiments on his people. They never return home. He falsifies their handwriting and makes it appear as if they have been transferred. He is bleeding this land of its brightest and best dry for his own experiments, imprisoning them in cages and transforming their bodies. All of the arrows are sucking the blood of this land dry. And it is not time that the common people know of it. That's sort of the gist of what she says.
Sure, yeah. Give me a diplomacy check.
All right.
Can we give Map a hero point for that bitching?
Absolutely. And you also all got one for the battle, and then yes, another one for that. Absolutely. I dropped the ball on that a little bit.
Sucking the blood of this land dry. Very nice.
All right.
Fantastic. Yeah, Map, you finish, or not, Kasana, you finish this speech, and people roar back at you. It's the vindication of everything that they've all felt. That things were not quite right. That the people who said they know best and meant best were lying. That there is a better thing to do than just leave it all in the hands of those who call themselves your betters. It's a crystallization. It's a sharpening. And today, the first sparks fly in what you hope to ignite as a bonfire. And there's a fervor to the Rams as they return to their work, and Soren and Alexei come up to meet you.
Yeah, she gets off. She climbs down battlements, like hop. Hero 3-point onto the ground.
Cool. Soren says, I mean, it's a very, very good speech, and certainly had a willing crowd, but how are you going to convince the rest of the parish about it?
Well, I am no leader, and you don't want a leader. I am a spear tip. And while I'd fight in battles, the main spear I am is against people's hearts. Use me however you see fit, and turn to these individuals, for they will know more what to do with it than I.
Yes, he's a wonderful public speaker, Soren. He says, and Soren, they say, yeah, I certainly see that. Well, I mean...
Alexei, you were most recently in the manor.
Yes.
Do you know any of the children that were there? If any of their parents were influential figures in the town, those would be the people to go to first.
Yeah, yes, perhaps. I do believe one of them was... where am I? Did I... One second. Did I write
Lexi's
this?
going through his mental notes. Hold on.
Yes, yes. I'm flipping through the diamond file.
Mind.
It's fine.
Certainly, and a pair of the Mott sisters, son of the village head and of Rule proper. I believe one of them was the younger brother of Berta Ordez, the sharpshooter from Idnea. I mean, they take a good number of young folk to be these subjects.
Soren,
Aye.
would you be willing for people to know what was done to you? If we speak and make it known, you don't have to.
Speak for me.
If you would let us. Once people know, you're not speaking something that's a secret, are you?
True. And I suppose that's the earliest evidence we've got. Kind of wince a little bit. Aye, if you think it'd help, I'd allow it.
Thank you.
And Alexei says, what day is it?
Saturday.
Oh, well,
When's the next? You thinking about the next gathering?
yes. I believe it happened just a few days before you arrived and I was captured. So the next one would be in a little under a week. Aldrich Arrow will be arriving at Crossroads to interview for new apprentices and meet with the leaders of the community.
Oh. Does he have a threshold age for what he considers to take on as an apprentice?
Usually between the ages of 15 and 20.
What sort of guard does he bring along when he does the interviews?
It looks at Soren and sort of says, it varies. Sometimes he'll bring mechanical soldiers, sometimes flesh and blood warriors. Really depends. Considering all the hubbub you've been causing, I can't imagine he wouldn't head out with a bit more protection.
Well, perhaps I can... I don't know if I can make myself look that much younger, but...
I lift off your
kit.
hat to get a better look at your face. How old are you?
28. I have a disguise kit.
Put some
it's
foundation
mostly-
on.
It's mostly the hair that I'm worried about, but
Soren actually chuckles because you're older than they are.
I don't know if we could disguise you, is the thing. But
Do
the thought would be...
you need a disguise? I mean, he'll just be in the town in the Rock Estate.
if we want to maybe secure an interview as an apprentice.
I guess if you want to get that close to him, that might be the way.
I'd be more inclined to either get the people riled up or do something to him and reveal him for what he is. I mean, a well-thrown holy water to the face.
Speak to the heart.
I was thinking more something that wouldn't involve, but if we can get the people riled up ahead of time and then give them proof that Earl is not what he claims to be. How's he going to explain that away if people see it with their own eyes?
Apricus,
Makes sense.
how well can you imitate the sun?
How well can I imitate the sun? It's a question I haven't been asked in a good while. If ever, really. That's actually quite a strange one. I can say safely that illusionary things are not exactly my,
Not an illusion. Can you create some form of daylight?
daylight. Ooh. Again, a difficult question. If I had some help from someone like perhaps a professor, then I might be able to string something together with a bit of fire.
You know, Precus, I'm actually pretty well versed in illusionary magic. Was shackled and he kind of like wiggles over towards you.
Forgetting he's here.
It's great.
I've been here the whole time.
Yes, as he can attest to, have always been more given to a direct application of force. And has
An
Very
illusion might fool them if you
Some.
believe that possible, but it would be best to get the real deal.
The real sun?
Well, the effect
Isn't that
of the
what we're
real
aiming for?
vampires. You want to show the people that that Aldrich Arrow is a vampire. You show them.
Good sir, do you happen to know anything about breaking the clouds for even just a few moments? I have studied the weather. I've hoped to make it work even in a limited location for a certain amount of time, but of course, as you might know, my studies have been a bit difficult since I've become unlicensed.
Well, it's not exactly what I specialize in, but you put a couple of highly certified and well-trained wizards together, I'm sure we can whip up some sort of short-term ritual for it.
Dr. Paxton, I'm sure we'll have your assistance in this too.
Well, that was him talking.
Of course.
Yes.
Alexia's not a wizard.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's an alchemist, isn't he?
Yes. Well, otherwise, as for riling up a crowd, we get them as suspicious as we can, present the unrest, and then we present a number of rams disguised as lay civilians in the crowd. I can rile them up.
Oh, seeds and plants.
And yes, and once the crowd begins, it will tip everyone over. The mob will form, and that should give Apricus and the Professor Mortimer the time they need. If Elsbetia, if you can be close to the Errol in the meantime, or in some other ways, infiltrate closely. I will not be able to, but you, I am sure, can.
We might be able to attempt something.
Just to check our capability, Soren, does anyone in the Rams camp happen to be given to magical needs?
Within the Rams.
Within the Rams.
Roll a flat check.
Here we go.
Call it a DC 15.
Oh boy.
Spit a hero point on it if you want it.
Yeah. Rolling it up. I've got 3 of them. I'm willing to burn points.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Much better.
Nice.
I mean, we're not really positioned for what you might call rigorous scientific study But there's a few folks in here who feel the pull of the land or some spark of magic in their veins. There was a circle of druids in the south once. A few of them still answer our calls.
We don't need learned folk. We only need those who are willing to help in a ritual. If anything, a constructed knowledge may in fact get in the way of these things. So, feeling or being in tune with higher powers or with the earth itself may grant us an advantage in accessing something that is, by its nature, connected to that beyond knowledge itself.
All right, I'll send out some word, see who I can rustle up in the next few days.
Perfect. More hands for a ritual.
Mortimer kind of gives a little clap. Fantastic! Gotta really stick it to the man. Let's get those pigs.
I would really recommend you stop.
You might want to get a crash course education from Kasana. I understand that the People's Revolution tends to be a little more educated as to social constructs and as to the basic beats of dissent.
People's Crusade.
Crusade, thank you.
Is... Tell me, Dr. Mortimer Paxton.
Yes.
Are you familiar with secular humanism? And she walks him into the other room.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very they're very big on it in Coronat.
Let me tell you about secular humanism.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just gonna pull him over and just, try to instill a sense of that other people deserve respect and sympathy in him.
That's going to be difficult, especially if you're using the lens of secular humanism. Because he's like, but what about people who worship gods? Don't they not deserve respect? Isn't that like the whole deal?
It is not that people who worship gods do not deserve respect. They simply still cling to the veil. It is a crutch for them. That is not something to hate or fear. It is, if anything, something to pity. You do not need to fear or hate other people. And this is kind of just how it goes. It's like, she brings up a counter argument every time he has like a thing.
And he also, your brand of secular humanism is one thing, but he does like bring up like it's also been used to squash religion and like religious practices in Tarandaur.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because the less clerics there are, the less people there are to recognize vampires.
Makes sense. Is there some way I can start like working on that clock? Trying to like
make a diplomacy check.
All right.
It doesn't start good.
No.
Say that.
I wasn't I'm not used to Kasana is not particularly used to arguing with like scholars. That's not tends to be that.
Sure. Yeah, he's like, no, I mean, I'm pretty sure I remember there being some like book burnings a while back.
Yes, but that is not what we are talking about here. We are speaking of the rights of other humans and individuals and the freedoms they possess, not...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it just goes on like that. It's getting nowhere while all y'all are doing other
And
things.
Apricus raises his hands to the skies and goes, "Blessed dialogue, that which is the lifeblood of the scholar."
Incredible. Cool. Yeah.
Thing.
Any last things? You got one?
Yeah. Once that's happened, and maybe Apricus is spitballing with Alexei about possible things, I want to approach Yelzbieta. So, you're a half vampire then?
Between you and me, yes.
I mean, I'm fairly certain you declared it in front of everybody back at the temple.
Well,
but
no
I
one has
don't-
said anything, so, but that could also mean anything. Soren is in a similar situation, I think, as far as public opinion goes. I might be slightly down further on the ladder than they are, but
I won't let anyone hurt you, you know.
that is a very grand gesture. But it
I mean, I'm
also,
also very large.
it is grand both in stature and in sentiment. But one, you will not always be there. And two, there are people, Kasan is trying, but even still, if we bring up the fact that the Errol's are vampires and things to be feared, people like me, will end up under that bucket when it comes down.
Maybe. But I also think you need to give people credit that they know the difference between people who would crush those under their boot and people that have had something done to them. Fear.
I didn't have anything done to me. My mother did. So where does that leave me in the grand scheme of things?
You are the way you are because a wrong was done.
Yes.
And so a wrong was done to you. I don't see a disconnect there. Do you know who it was?
No, I was planning on writing a letter to my mother, but I don't know how long it will take before I hear anything back. I haven't spoken to her in a bit, but I mean, we write letters, but it's my mission to figure that out and do a little vengeance of my own.
If you are an example of what it is to be a half vampire, knowing all that you do to help people and protect people.
That's giving me a little too much credit.
Didn't you use... My point is that you need to understand that you are a good example.
I hope to be.
If you're the yardstick, people don't have to look at a vampire and go, oh, well, that's what a half vampire must be like, when they can see you and the good that you do.
I really hope that you're right about that.
Have faith in people.
It's
By all means,
a very
be
hard thing
yourself.
to do.
For sure, but I mean, there are going to be people like Paxton, and there are going to be people like Soren and like Kasana. There are all kinds. Let people surprise you.
As
And
long as
anyone
it's
that-
not with a stake to the heart, they can surprise me all they want.
I would, as I said, I would love to see them try if I'm standing there with you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hug her.
Oh, this is not what I expected. Okay. But also, let's just... I know I did kind of say that in the heat of the moment, but let's not make a big deal of it. I do wish to... You know.
I won't bring it up first.
Thank you.
Let me be clear, that was a private conversation. I would have made sure it was a private conversation. I didn't announce across the battlements. So, hey, half vampire.
Okay.
Half vampire, what's up? Yeah, no.
Turns out I'm kind of dead and you're kind of dead.
We both can be dead together. Like, half a dead and half an alive person.
Cool. Apricus, what is the last thing we see of you today?
Somewhere deep in the toil between the professor and between Paxton, working out some form of ritual. It's a spread of papers and pens and ink, a flurry of ideas across the table, and just trying to figure out some way for some blessed moment to split the sky in two, just enough to cause a ray from God to descend upon a certain point on the plane. So, just a simple math problem.
Mm-hmm. Alexi is like building this drawing. Then the way that Alexi draws schematics is wild. Because he takes out a piece of parchment and like his charcoal pencil, and he just goes from top to bottom like an inkjet printer. Like and you know that he drew it all by hand in his head and is only now just copying it.
Professor, I really, really must ask you about how you exactly maintained that diamond file of yours before anything else, or maybe even after. I'm not sure the exact timing of it, but if I had a head for schematics like that, I'd be in a much better position.
Yes, Apricus, my boy, it's a long road, but I'd be happy to show you the first steps. As like this image comes together of a like mirror, it looks like a telescope, but backwards. And as like the camera it pans onto the schematic, it kind of like the visual of it kind of like dissolves as the black charcoal turns to white, and the yellowish parchment turns to black, and the stars twinkle behind it. In a kind of visual motif, and the words "to be continued" fade into view, because that's where we're going to end our session. I'd like to thank everybody for being there with us. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Sagas of the Sunless Reach, the Riddle of Rule. Tune in next time to see the People's Revolution really kick into gear. A vampire is coming to town, and the town deserves to know. Yeah. Until next time, my name is Zachary Frederickson. You can find me on Twitter at Obfuscating God. You can find the music I make at iambugbear.bandcamp.com. You can hire me to run a tabletop game for you at startplaying.games/ I believe Obfuscating Deity.
Yeah. obfuscating deity.
Which is pretty cool. Because, that's what I think it's /GMs/obfuscating deity. Nope, it's not working. I'll figure that out. Look on my Twitter. I'll post it soon. Anyway, I have been joined today by my friends, starting with Bitmap.
Hello, my name is Bitmap. You can find me on Twitter and Patreon and some other places I don't actually go, at BM Prager. The Kickstarter for the comic I am drawing, written by Emily Reisbeck, Mountain, has just successfully kickstarted all its stretch goals. It's very exciting. If you missed the Kickstarter, you will be able to pre-order it soon, and I will tell you where once I know. And
very excited for that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting my mug and bag and zine drawn by Emily Reisbeck. It's a great thing. We've also been joined by Corey.
Hi, I'm Corey. You can find me on Twitter at Endless Musings. Thank you to everyone for coming through to this stream. You can find us here again, same bat time, same bat channel. Look forward to then.
Look forward to it. By Jade.
I continue to be Jade. You can find me on Twitter at JadeOxfordRose. You can hear me doing other actual play content on Follow the Leader at FTLcast and Dumb Kids Playing Hero at DKPHpod. This has been a pleasure. It has been an emotional ride. I'm glad that we could share it with you all.
And finally, by Mab.
Hi, I'm Mab. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Patreon at Little Lady Mab, doing shenanigans. Crying over fictional characters. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And so that is all of us, and that is all we have to do today. So until next time, remember, we only get it done if we do it together. Have a great day.